Hello, and welcome to SuperTV Showdown.
What show is this?
I don't know. Hello, and welcome to Super.
It's the greatest show.
I really bungled it right up top, gang. I'm sorry.
Listen, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on behind the camera. A lot of emotions in the room.
I'm really thrown off right now.
A lot of things going on.
Roxy's got this weird thing where
no, just tell him it's a weird thing.
Infect her hand and make her fingers bend all the wrong way.
It's a thing.
It looks like, you know, mid-werewolf transformations where like the bone, like joints start going the wrong way. That's what your fingers look like.
You can show it to us.
It's been my whole life. I don't know if I can.
For the audio listeners.
All right, wait, for example, for the audio listeners, this is me pointing.
And this is me. This is me.
Wait, listen up. This is me pointing.
This is me pointing.
And then you do it.
And then this is me really pointing.
Yeah.
But there's
Did
no.
you fall on all of your fingers when you were a child?
To explain to the audio listeners, if you look at your pointer finger, your first
when it points, it's straight.
Your first main joint is supposed to be straight. Hers inverts,
I don't know.
and then her top joint doesn't
can I be
allow
honest?
her finger to go straight.
I can't even do what she's doing.
No. Her fingers bend the wrong way.
I can't even.
I can't do what you're doing.
You know, we're all given different gifts.
But I can look how close I am.
Can you do?
Are you not going to acknowledge how close this is?
No. You're way far off. You went the wrong way. There's a middle ground that you just skip right over. You skip it right over.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. There we go. We're going to be talking about that in just a second. But, gang, this is the show where we review all the Super TV shows like Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, Black Lightning, Gotham, and Doom Patrol. Oh, yeah. Buckle up, gang. It's going to be a blast. But we're going to start off with some news. That's what you got to do. The soundboard's back and better than ever. Let's go ahead and kick it off with some news. All right, DJ. You sent me this link last night.
I did.
I was driving. I didn't look at it. I saw when I got home.
You didn't send it to me.
And you sent me a link that didn't have a hyperlink in the text message.
I know. It was weird. After I sent it, it was just literally like deadline.com.
It felt like a mysterious thing.
What do you mean?
We found out it looked suspicious.
Yeah, it didn't say the headline. It was just literally the website. Yeah.
But what we found out is Deathstroke's making his way over to the DC Universe app by way of Titans. Yes, we're talking about our boy, Esai Morales.
Who's been in everything.
From NCIS LA.
Yes.
How to Get Away with Murder.
Yes.
He's very handsome.
Quantico.
He is very handsome.
I don't know about Quantico. He is. You know, he's got the Silver Fox look that you want with a Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Did you just throw Quantico in there because you like the word?
Well, no, because I said every other, like, he was like procedural cop show, and he's in basically all of them. He was on...
Oh, there's another show he was on recently that I definitely...
He was in La Bamba.
He was in
La
Bamba.
Bamba. Yeah, so I'm happy this is happening because Deathstroke was introduced in Teen Titans, the comic, and he's an important part to that run. And I'm glad that, to a certain degree, DC can be like, yeah, sure, we've got this Deathstroke on Arrow and this one on Titans, and it's fine. If anybody's going to understand multiple actors playing the same role, it's people who have the DC Universe app.
Yeah.
If anybody's going to get it, it's those fans. You can cast multiple people in different roles and everybody will be fine.
You know what would be weird now is if they're like, we just announced a Deathstroke movie coming. I think some people might get a little confused. If they were DC Universe fans, because that sounds like, oh, this is, you can watch the other stuff, but this is the stuff that matters because it's coming from the horse's...
What do you mean if they announce a Deathstroke?
If
they confirm that they're actually still going to do it.
This is like minutia stuff where it doesn't like matter. I'm just saying, since this feels the most official, like, hey, if we need to pay attention to any Deathstroke, since the Joe Manganiello thing seems like it's tabled for a little bit, this seems the most important. But that doesn't matter.
Do we ever
think
great. The DC Universe app will give us original movies like Netflix?
Thinking about that.
I definitely do.
Okay.
I definitely do.
Will they be within the
Titans
universe or the movie universe?
I don't know exactly which or one of its own, but you know how Disney kind of botched that because who was it that was asked about Disney Plus streaming and if they would ever bring us any of the movies there, and they were like, absolutely not. And everybody was like, what a moronic thing to say, because like, what if you do?
Yeah.
Why did you
absolutely never? If it ever happens, you have license to shoot me in the face.
Yeah. He just was like, no, we're not doing that.
For asking this question, you're fired. I don't have control over that, but I'm gonna.
But wait, it turns out I work for Disney, so I do have control over that, and you're fired.
So I think that sparked the conversation of what a stupid thing that was to say, because what a great place these would be for some 90-minute movies or whatnot.
Yeah, like Disney Channel original movies, or like somebody pointed out that Extremely Goofy Movie was a straight to DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. Yeah, so like stuff like that, you know?
It is coming out on Blu-ray, both of them. Both the Goofy movies are coming out. Oh, I'm very excited.
We watched Extremely Goofy.
I'm gonna buy a Blu-ray of that movie. But hey, if you're a big fan, go for it.
Speaking of movies that will probably end up on the Disney Plus app and may get a Blu-ray release eventually.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about Avengers Endgame. They released. Oh, Russo brothers, you crafty SOBs. You snuck this up on us. Gave us a brand new trailer and a poster.
Yes.
To boot. You're looking at the poster right now. If you're watching the video, it's very few pixels on that poster. I definitely thought it looked better before I loaded it in there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What are you going to do with it? Oh, yeah? You can't see. That's also a mean thing to rub in someone's face. You can't.
By the way, you can't see.
You know what? When Thanos snapped, I lost my eyesight.
That must have been what it was.
I would like to point out for those that were able to see that poster, even with the pixels, I think it's a better poster than the Infinity War poster that's actually right behind us right now.
No.
Why don't you like it?
It's not that I don't like it. It's I like this one better, and I have a theory that it's the same reason that I might like Endgame better than Infinity War, because it's less characters and you're able to focus on.
And Bucky's not in it, so his arm isn't showing.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just tight. It's just tighter and more interesting. And I have a feeling that there's a chance that Endgame might be tighter and more interesting than Infinity War.
It is insane how many characters we know and love.
Wow. There's just insane how many characters we know.
I love them. I love all of them, and they're all their own individual, unique flowers.
I like
Nebula.
4 or 5 of them.
You like
five.
4? Are you making a joke? Of these people, you like 4
or 5.
You like 4 or 5 of them?
I can name them.
Wait, don't look at them. All right, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Ready?
I'm excited for this. I'll bet you Sam does to get this. Hold on.
Ready?
Yes.
Doctor Strange. Vision.
Right off the bat.
Vision. Nebula. Wait.
I can
Drax,
say this.
And
wait, I can't tell if you're right or wrong.
Mantis. I picked every wrong.
I will say I did like Vision in Civil War.
There it is.
Yes.
He's like the Jesus.
No, can you name the 4 or 5 that you actually like?
Oh yeah. Tony. Steve Rogers. T'Challa.
Yes. Those are the safe ones, and those are the ones I know. I'd have to look too. Hold on.
Basically, I'd say
there's some
Rocket.
Yes. And there's some who I like, and I like the actors, even though I didn't necessarily like their standalone movie.
Oh, Hulk? Spider-Man.
Actually, I do like Hulk and Spider-Man. So there's 6.
And like you like Okoye.
And I like Okoye, and I like Shuri, and I like Winter Soldier.
Spider-Man on there?
Yeah,
he's right there.
In the front. You're blind! I'm saying it, and I'm reinforcing it because you need glasses.
I see it.
Wow, man, we're way off track. Anyway, Endgame, new trailer. It was a good trailer. It was a good trailer.
It was a perfect trailer. It was bomb. I almost cried. It was so good. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I previously had said that I was more excited for episode 9 than this movie. I think I'm changing my mind.
Really?
Oh my God. I love.
That surprised me too, by the way. Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised that you were more excited for Star Wars over this one.
Well, okay. The question actually was asked to me, if you could only watch one, which would it be? And I thought, because Star Wars has meant more to me as a person, that in 20 years, that in 20 years, I would be super duper bummed if I never saw episode 9, especially for what that meant for the future of Star Wars. And I would not care as much if I didn't see Infinity War.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if I didn't see Endgame. But now I'm starting to feel differently. I don't know. I'm torn. I'm really torn.
Well, here's the good news. You will probably be able to see both.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Why are you trying to do this?
For me, that's really interesting. I didn't know that Star Wars meant that. I know like DC and Marvel mean stuff to you, and other like nerdy franchises.
It's almost like when she's on the show, we mostly talk about superhero things.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Weird. Yeah.
But really quick, I'll say my quickie thoughts. Bootstron in the chat saying they watched it 20 times. Good on you. Also, thanks to everyone who's sending like nice tweets. But I have to commend Alan Silvestri, because I get like so drawn to, when it's good, the score, because I'll just listen to it on repeat and repeat and repeat. Like Christopher Nolan's, like what Hans Zimmer is able to do with basically any movie he touches, it's amazing. And Alan Silvestri is the same thing. It's just like, it's incredible what he's been able to do with like Spielberg, especially like when even like Ready Player One, that score was also really cool because he got to use a lot of the scores he's already made. But anyways, the Avengers theme, and the way that he's able to like use it and kind of like pull it back or like stretch it out or like just let it like kind of fill the cracks of this movie. It's beautiful. And as soon as they showed Iron Man from the first movie, I was like, we watched that again last year, and god damn, that movie's so good. It's like, it's insane how just charming that movie is, and immediately you're on board with, I'll watch like 4 more of these.
It's funny, there's been, of course I forgot the writer's name. There's a writer who at AV Club is doing a breakdown year by year of the biggest superhero movie of that year that kind of like paved the way for future movies. And going through there, it points out like how many kind of like clunky movies Marvel came out with at the beginning, like how much like Hulk and Thor, the first one, that are like kind of like hadn't quite figured it out yet, but based off the strength of that first Iron Man, everybody was like, nah, still on board.
Yeah, we want the Avengers more than the other in-betweens.
Even if these are just okay, we're so excited. Iron Man got us so excited for this concept that we're well on board, and so it makes sense that they pay Robert Downey Jr. all the money in the world, and it also makes sense that maybe they're tired of doing that.
Before we get going, the big thing that was trending on Twitter, because 4 people tweeted it and then Twitter grabbed it, was that they thought Kate Bishop could be in the trailer because they saw a girl with an arrow, and then they thought that. Danny M's bringing it up. Hey, I'll mention this. If you want to play around with origins for characters, I'm fine with that. They usually make things less complicated and maybe more personal in different ways if the writers feel inspired. Like, I like what they've done with Scarlet Witch in the MCU so much for like her origin, and I like what they do with Vision for the most part. Kate Bishop, I mean, it would be weird to introduce her now.
Yeah,
because there's so much.
Especially since like the way the trailer sets it up is it's got to be Hawkeye's daughter.
Yeah.
Because it's like he's with a person, then they talk about the snap, and then he's sad. And it's like, so you're not going to introduce Kate Bishop just to have her vanish to make Hawkeye sad.
For me, I really like Matt Fraction's most recent run for Hawkeye. It's amazing, and what he did with Kate. So I like, in my head, Clint is better when he's like solo and alone, and I like him kind of being this bachelor where it's like his life, he can't really get it together because he's also the Avenger that can barely get by, and I like that idea. So even showing him with a family like right off the bat in the MCU kind of doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm fine if they want to kind of change up Kate's origin to be like, oh, this is how they know each other, and it'd be kind of fun to have a father-son dynamic similar to like Ant-Man or Hank Pym and Evangeline Lilly. There's so many goddamn character names. I'm gonna switch between actor names and character names to make it easier.
Angelina Van Dyne.
There you go. So I'm not against it. I just if you want to do it, but make it worth something. Yeah, make it worthwhile.
I'm into it. I think I'm excited for this movie despite not loving Infinity War because I think it's focusing on more on the characters I like. And I think having a tighter focus, it might function better as a movie overall. Like I understand the appeal of Infinity War, like they're all there and all the spectacle stuff of it, but I'm excited for like a tighter, more focused movie.
Nebula.
Honestly, I'm glad her and Rocket being there. I'm more interested in her and Rocket being there than Captain Marvel because of the tension they can create. Like Captain Marvel's a traditional like, hey, we're all heroes, let's go do hero things. Nebula and Rocket are like they're kind of like wrenches in the works. I can see them clashing with other characters, clashing with each other, and adding an interesting, just not enough to distract from the main, hey, let's save the world, but enough to add some extra energy to the cast.
A little salt and pepper, a little spice. I'm a big fan of Rocket being on War Machine's shoulder, and then someone on Reddit said, "Oh, it's a rocket launcher," and I was like,
mind blown.
Boom.
Boom. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope War Machine throws him at one point. Why? Because I want the rocket launcher.
You want it. I hope Rocket throws War Machine at some point. Because why not?
Give him a little tiny Iron Man costume.
Why not?
Roxy, last thing, there's any wish fulfillment things you want in this movie? I want Rocket to be launched from War Machine.
No.
Okay.
No. She just wants to be able to see this and Star Wars Episode 9.
No, I trust what they're doing. I think that the reason that I think they're really smart. Why else would they have put that one shot in there if they didn't want people to question what was going on? Who was that character? They're not showing us too many locations right now. There's not too many other questions because they don't want to have us answering things other than seeing Ant-Man, which we already saw before. Mm-hmm. So I think that was smart, and I don't want to tell them how to do their jobs. I think they're doing a really good job so far.
Good call. I trust the Russo brothers and the writing team, McFeely and Spunky. I always forget their names, but they've done the Captain America movies and Infinity War.
Name.
It is a cool name, but I trust them. You got it. Amen. Let's get going and let's kick it off with Supergirl. Season 4, Episode 14, Stand and Deliver, between Ben Lockwood's new push to stir up the anti-alien movement and the elite's desire to target Lockwood and his minions, Supergirl is concerned about the safety of the American people, both human and alien.
Pause real quick. This description's very long.
It is, so
keep
buckle
going.
up.
Yeah.
When Lockwood organizes a rally, the aliens decide to peacefully protest. Brainiac and Jean join the alien march with Supergirl and Dreamer patrol to keep everyone safe. Meanwhile, James picks up his camera again to cover the march for Catco, and Haley assigns Alex a job that clashes with her beliefs. When the elite and Ben Lockwood stir up trouble at the rally, Supergirl is forced to take a stand. Really quick for DJ, because you have not watched this episode,
no.
But Roxy and I have, so we'll be doing the discussing today. What do you think Haley made Alex do that went against her beliefs based on what's happening in this episode?
Good question.
Stand up against the peaceful protest?
No.
Around me are familiar faces.
No, I don't know.
That's the end of the song. Yeah, I was wondering why you're saying that. Yeah, that is the last song. She has to protect Lockwood.
Yeah.
Oh,
she has to be his private detail.
Yeah.
Which was
All right,
something.
And then they kiss. No, I don't know.
So overall thoughts.
He doesn't look like a real person there.
No, he's never really.
It looks like an action figure.
There's a reason they cast him as a vampire in a show. He's just got that ageless, ephemeral.
I can't not think of Force Unleashed. I can't.
Yeah.
Not. He was the main guy on all those advertising stuff, and for a long time that comic book shop that's next to Universal City Walk had a statue of him as his character from the Star Wars game. And when I saw him, that he looked like that, there was literally no difference. It's such a weird experience.
He holds his lightsaber backwards.
That's always cool, isn't it?
This was a very in-your-face episode, and I didn't mind it.
Same.
That it was. I think that it got a little iffy for me when people are beating the living crap out of each other, and we see James taking the pictures, and they want us to feel happy because
as Guardian.
And they want us to feel happy because like a couple people are helping each other out and pointing out there is still beauty in the world, and some people still do help other people or now aliens. But at the same time, I was like, this is really strangely shot. Why are so few people, and like, how did you not think that
it was the smallest protest I've ever seen, because they equate it to the Women's March and the Million Man March, and I was like, this.
And then in that room was like a dozen people, and then they were kind of in all different corners. And instead of doing anything about it, Alex and Guardian and even Kara, they're all just standing there.
I get why Alex doesn't do anything. Kara, she acts, she gets to it, but overall, I enjoyed this episode because
Me too.
They are fully exploring, and actually, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel for the most part of where they're going to end up with this episode. Where it's like you're not going to get the whole country on board with Ben Lockwood, but you can understand how he stirred people up, and you can you can identify it with the last episode where he just beat someone to death with his mask. You're like, oh, this is pretty easy to find the thing to like really tear down his whole his whole business. So I was on board with it. I like that we kind of have a clear ending, because like by the end of the mid-season finale where we see him go to prison, but everyone's like, hey, you can't do that. There's like a big protest outside. It doesn't excuse that, but I like that the writers, it showed that the writers know what they're doing. It wasn't like Flash with like Savitar where it's like,
yeah, I agree with that.
Don't know what to do.
Looking at this asset here, I thought that Jonathan Bennett was slightly distracting.
Yeah, he's a bigger actor, right? He's
Aaron Samuels in Mean Girls.
And he is.
And so
he is.
And he also was just on Celebrity Big Brother. So I watched him every day inside the Big Brother house.
What station has that?
CBS.
Currently? Or is it
It ended a month ago.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched an episode of Big Brother?
No. I will say in the description, it is weird that they referred to him. Did I cut you off? I apologize.
Go ahead.
That they refer to as Brainiac.
Yeah,
because that's not how.
It's IMDb, so it's definitely.
Look, they're all holding hands.
Yeah.
But okay, this was strange too, because is this Supergirl coming out to the world?
Oh, here's a question. She introduces herself to a crowd of people as Kara Zor-El.
I know.
And it's like, this doesn't work like Kal-El. Where that's like
it's a whole nother name.
No,
yeah.
I know.
You took your superhero name and made it your real person name.
Which is why I was so confused, because it wasn't that big of a moment. And then I was like,
wait,
what?
Yeah, it's a big question mark. I was like, I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot, but I did want to ask you about it. I'm like, this is
Like, you fought the
This
government for your identity. You didn't want to ruin that.
And there's scenes when Alex and Supergirl are like
this close,
like a breath away from each other, and Alex is like, "Yeah, I should go talk to my sister about it." And it's like, "Oh, come on!"
It is funny because, like, I've probably mentioned this before. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I am a big believer of, like, especially when Henry Cavill was running around with the Superman shirt on and people didn't recognize him, that, like, if you've never met Clark Kent, there's no reason for you to assume Superman is Clark Kent. However, let's say you grew up with him your whole life.
Like Lex Luthor.
Like, or like in Smallville, yeah. But in this situation, Alex grew up with Supergirl her whole life, knew her, probably has seen her when she's cleaning her glasses. Like, you'd figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, you'd figure it out.
Outside
but
of
also,
the disguise.
Yeah.
Didn't Alex see Kara standing with everybody else? Did she just not think...
Hey, wait a second.
I
Wait
think she
a
was,
second.
and there's a moment where they lock eyes, and it's like, oh, does she know now? Because that'd be nice if, like, Alex discovers and we'd, like, work our way through that story.
But then, no.
No.
Yeah, that was weird.
No,
to
she
me.
was on board with Supergirl. She liked Supergirl more.
Yeah.
That was strange. That was strange. I
And
do
then she
like
asked
what
her out
they're
on a date.
doing.
Uh-oh.
I do like what they're doing with
Beep, beep.
Dream. That would be amazing. That actually is a ridiculously funny storyline. And
They're step siblings. It'd technically be okay.
They could definitely...
That's what Gossip Girl says. Okay. So I do like what they're doing with Dreamer, though. How she kind of is Supergirl's, like, not sidekick, but sidekick and little
bit,
protege.
yeah.
And she's, like, looking at her like, I'm with Supergirl, whatever she wants. It will get old really quick.
She brought out that...
But it was still okay in this episode.
She brought out that energy thing, like the little, like, woo
Yeah.
thing. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what is that again? And it's like concentrated dream energy. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, just throw that. I'm gonna so ignore that you just said that because that's so because she astral projects at one time. And if they were like, oh, this is like astral energy or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm like,
didn't
I don't know
bother
why
me.
that could make it more sense, but make more sense. But when they're like, oh, this is concentrated dream energy, I'm like, no. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't mean anything. Anyways, not the most important thing, but when it shows up, it looks cool. I'm just not going to think about it. That's all.
What do you think about Jimmy Olsen's staff and what the little bit that we saw of that situation again?
When it was, they were like talking about the racism against aliens. Is
Like, what are we leading to with that storyline with the one girl and the one guy, the guy who they made that fun of because he had twigs or something?
they gave him wood chips.
Wood chips, yeah.
Because his alien eats wood.
Yeah.
Wait, so they gave him food?
They
No,
gave
this was,
him,
remember, this was a year ago.
Oh yeah, but they were like, they did it in a way to antagonize him because the stereotype is that the aliens he comes from eat wood.
Which was strange. But anyway,
I
about
couldn't
him,
explain it better.
About him and the girl that's been outing Lena. How do you feel? Like, I just don't know what we're leading to with Jimmy Olsen and those two characters.
With that, I
Yeah.
say take the side characters and kind of shuffle them off. They might die, they might not. You know, it's like they're basically in that limbo.
Oh.
With Jimmy, it's getting him to be. There's now tension. Oh, that sounded louder than I wanted it to. There's a tension now between him and Lena.
What about that rush for Lena to finish her product?
The give people superpowers
Yeah.
drug.
And then her assistant who's like, no, everything's above board. I'll get this over to you, Jimmy, immediately.
That's true, but she also could say it's kind of true. They're not being too sneaky.
I feel like they're being shady AF.
They're being. It's not great, and they're also framing it as shady because they do that with Lena all the time.
that's
Where it's
true.
like, wait, she just entered her password in, and could that be evil? It's like later, it's like, no, she was making a birthday party.
Yeah.
But like they got
Now
the
that we know
writers-
Lex is coming, it's like, but
he's knocking on the door. I think next episode, 2 episodes.
They've already
from now.
started doing
Next episode.
scenes.
There you go.
Nice. I
Come
like
and knock on my
the
door.
trailers because they do make Lex seem like a major crazy threat. Like, it's not just Lex Luthor. It's like Lex Luthor's going to destroy the planet.
And John Cryer, I'm so interested to see what his performance will be.
He looks like he's having fun based on the trailers.
Good.
Yeah.
And then I'm on board. But with this episode, I liked the reveal, like Brainy. I didn't know that he just fully lost his Legion ring. Like I didn't know that like Manchester
that
left
was
with it.
confusing too.
But we have to assume that he doesn't. Manchester has it.
Speaking of which
We'll get to that in a second.
Manchester's dead. Manchester's not dead?
Oh yeah, real good turn of events. It was
No
so
way.
Stupid.
There's 500 Manchesters? What's happening?
It's a good way to really pull fast one all Supergirl. But
That one was annoying.
That was stupid. But
at least I know what the hat thing is you're talking about now.
There you go. The hat. It's his
it's
whole
not red.
thing. He's a red hat.
It's like this deep purpley maroon.
Maroon's red.
I thought it was black based on my eyes. Which is
eyesight. Your poor eyesight.
Thanos took
Simple
my
context.
eyes.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Could you imagine? Like, Cap turns around, beard falls off, eyes melt out of head. Thanos, what are you doing?
The other thing I was thinking was like half of all life, and Thanos, because he's been stabbed, he's not thinking. So suddenly, like a half of a person just melts into nothing.
Yes.
Like, oh no!
Oh no!
That was me.
Just
he
like
took my
a
ability
leg.
to point and my sight.
And your sight.
Just a few tendons, few tendies. I did like seeing Manchester and the Elite use the big Superman key to get into the fortress. That was super cool because it's like, oh my god, you did it! Like it didn't have like the full back end. It looked like an old timey key, but it was like this big like gold Superman diamond shaped key that they put in.
Gold.
So cool, and I like that they were going through and stealing stuff. I'm like, how are not like 17 alarms going off right now?
Yeah.
But who? They only found it because Jean was looking for Manchester or whatever. He was psychically looking for him, and he's like, uh-oh, this is where he is.
But then it was so confusing too. John was like, "Oh, I can't sense him. He's gone." And then he was like, "He must have been in hiding with the."
Yeah, they went up to the 5th dimension.
I was like, okay.
That's where they go.
Yeah, but
I like that.
What
It's
would
not
you-
great, but I liked it.
It was fine.
And the Manchester whole storyline of doing the fake death, and then when great dialogue between him and the hat in the hallway, where it's like, "Hey man, thanks for letting me run into the Sun Eater's pit and then faking our death and then hiding it from Supergirl. I really
like,
appreciate it."
Did you guys get what happened?
Yeah.
But I needed that. I really did.
Yeah. I'm like, all he had to do is like, he could have said like, "Thanks for teleporting me out."
Yeah. Totally.
He definitely was
No,
like
I
wrapped
needed
up
it.
inside the Sun Eater though
No,
for a
I
second.
needed it.
Okay, good.
It
Well,
was
there
for
you go.
me. It was for the me's of the world.
What would you guys rate this episode?
Out of 10 menageries that are in captive, they're captured right now.
7.5.
That's pretty good. That's where I probably could put it too. I thought it was pretty solid. I think it's a pretty solid Supergirl episode, or the most solid they've had in a minute.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's because you sounded pretty positive, but 7.5 isn't the May.
It wasn't.
It's a solid.
It didn't give me like
7.5.
all of the. It didn't give me all the feels. It just the storyline was cool, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But it wasn't like I watched this episode and I was like, damn.
Mad World though at the end was pretty good. It's like how the world is right now. It's mad. But you know, there's people coming back together. The kid from Mean Girls is here.
Yeah.
Does he mean anything? Everyone was like, "Hey, it's this guy. Remember him?" And I'm like, is that the alien from before? I have no idea who that is. Did that mean anything to you?
It's Aaron Samuels,
Duh.
So Mean
From
Girls
Celebrity Apprentice.
and
big
sorry.
brother.
Ooh.
Oh. Sorry.
Ooh,
I know.
you claim to be a
Oh.
fan.
On CBS.
CBS.
Oh my god.
Over at CBS.
I'm so embarrassed for you right now. This
Sorry.
is like an Allie and AJ situation all over again.
See,
Oh,
you have
Hillary
both
Duff.
whiffed it, and I haven't made one mistake
Ever.
Speaking of making mistakes, specifically time-related ones, let's talk about The Flash, because that's all they've got. That's their whole kit and caboodle. But let's talk about Season 5, Episode 16, Failure is an Orphan. That's not a great title. With the Metacure...
For this episode, that's so strange. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I love when people say that phrase, success has many parents, but failure is an orphan. You never heard that?
Oh, it's an actual saying? I thought failure is an option is what they were
No.
doing.
Success has many parents, but failure is an orphan.
Then I'm an idiot.
But
Nobody wants to claim
take
failure.
See, now I just whiffed it. I just said I
See?
would never
But
make.
you
I
did-
never make a mistake.
but I
then
still don't
you just
understand why
did.
this episode is called that.
Oh, I definitely don't know. But with the Metacure ready to use, Barry and the team figure out a way to convince Cicada to take it. Killer Frost steps in to help with the plan.
I mean, she
doesn't
does
matter.
do that. She does do that.
Joe eases back into work. Got to ease in with those.
Quick question.
Joe's back.
Quick
Eases
question.
Back into
There
work.
you go.
Yeah, quick question. So
you
Killer
got?
Frost jumps out. Boom, hits him. Wait, you don't have one of these? Portal jumps. He's going to charge her into the portal. It could have been one of the cells in the pipeline, and
Wait,
they don't.
what-
And they don't
what?
let him do that.
Or Vibe could have thrown him into a teleported portal.
What's your question?
Basically,
So
she
she teleports
Who?
away. Killer
Success?
Frost.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Killer
When they're in the
Frost.
alley.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, why didn't we just put him in the pipeline? Why didn't we just teleport him in the pipeline? Because he almost runs in after her.
Oh.
So she could have just been in the pipeline, and we could have had him in the pipeline, and then had all that conversation while he's. There's so many opportunities to take Cicada out.
Yeah.
Iris could have murdered him. We could have put him in the pipeline, and we keep whiffing it.
You gotta be better than that.
Come on, it's 5 seasons in.
You gotta be better than that.
You got to be better than that.
No, I mean you gotta be better, and you can't murder people.
Oh, no, you're talking about Black Lightning now.
Yeah, but Barry doesn't want to kill him, and he doesn't want to. Okay, positive of this episode.
Yes.
I like that they actually explore the idea again of not killing the villain and not taking a decision away from that could like drastically end their life. The only thing is, compared to like Savitar and other people who haven't directly murdered people, Cicada's whole thing has been murdering random people.
I still felt like it was
a
little forced.
You have a little animal? Mm-hmm. We'll let a bunch of them out.
Yeah.
I understand that his pride and joy, his niece, is also a meta, but I don't understand why that caused him to take the cure.
Because I liked his reasoning. It's not airtight.
Okay.
I'll give you that. But the reasoning of your niece, I was going to say daughter, basically, but his niece at some point is going to wake up from that coma, and she's going to have meta powers, and every meta in Central City right now is absolutely terrified of being found by Cicada and being murdered, so she's going to have that same fear, and even if they stopped him and died, there's still going to be that boogeyman out there of Cicada. Or if he ran away now and she got her powers, she's going to view him as a threat.
But wouldn't she be happy to have another meta family member?
Would you?
And she doesn't seem to be threatened by him when we see her.
We see her in her mind. No one knows that point of view, though.
But in her mind,
no one knows that point of view, though.
She does, and we saw it because we were there in her mind.
We did, but Barry didn't. Iris
yes, he did. Yes, she did.
That was XS.
Iris did, because Iris was
No, it's XS.
No,
they were in.
And you think that they didn't talk?
Listen, XS is not the most forward with information.
That's what I mean. Is that whole point of view of where the daughter's at? All she came back and said was that didn't work, and they didn't explain why. Like she's been hearing stuff.
You don't think they had an off-screen conversation? Like, can you tell us what happened?
Because XS has been keeping so many secrets, and mainly been working to try to get her own coffee at Cheddar's.
I like that they were trying.
Well, she succeeded in today.
And espresso.
Yeah.
It's nice that they were trying to use their words, but like you just said, this was for me not only just not airtight. It was kind of like, are you kidding?
But this season's been a little like that with like. Iris pulled one over on Cicada and could have been like the big hero, but instead like of just kicking that like knife into his heart just a little bit further, she walks away, and that was stupid.
Or binding, I don't know what else she could have done other than murder him. But the point is, he was right there, and he was knocked out.
Call Barry.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
Yeah, the fastest man alive. Get him on the phone.
Anything.
You know what I did like about this episode? We got a little Joe in there, and I gotta say, my favorite scene in the whole episode was, God bless Joe being back, because he was able to give Barry some solid advice, and Barry was able to give him some advice, and I like that exchange. And I want more of that, please, and thank you.
I agree. When this show has heart. Okay, so last week we talked about what this show is doing, what the show does best, which is pinning two big monsters against each other, right? Yes. Love that.
Crazy, yeah.
What the show also does really well is that heart-to-heart, that character, that thing that pulls at your strings, because at the base of this is a kid who is an orphan and grew up with like a surrogate dad. Did he officially adopt him?
I don't know. I don't know. He does keep referring to them as his kids, even though they're definitely hooking up.
Right. So whatever it is, I love when the show does that also. So DJ, this scene stood out for me as well. Mm-hmm. And I love these real poignant moments, which is why I'm getting actually really annoyed with XS, even though I like her. And I think the actress is doing a bomb job, because it's just like, grow up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
You're an adult person.
You're an adult.
Yeah.
You're an adult time
You're the
traveling.
same age as your parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you can't just you are making a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
And really, you didn't tell them what happened in this girl's mind?
Yeah.
Really?
By the way, everybody, so I was in her mind, heavily implied that she is the future Cicada. So we might want to be on the lookout for potential future Cicada. Just wanted to let everybody know, in case that matters, a few episodes from now.
Well, they kept saying like I was reading some comments like Swanman85 saying, wait, so where is Ralph? And that's a great question. I think it was Cisco's turn to be on the air.
They've stopped like explaining why somebody's not there. They're just not there.
He should definitely be here.
Actually, we usually spend quite a bit of time explaining that somebody is in Tibet.
There you go.
And what they're doing with
that's
Wally.
the one, yeah. Ralph is in Tibet with Wally.
He stretches right there.
Yeah.
But they had an opportunity where it was like, oh, we're seeing this newspaper in the Flash Museum where it was like, Cicada leaves here, but then comes back later. And XS did 0 backflips to be like, wait, maybe we do get him. It's the girl.
Yeah.
I didn't like the twist that it was Future One. That's confusing.
It was super confusing.
And so it's Godspeed or Thawne that took him back in time, right? It's got to be, right? In the promo next week, apparently she's going to tell Barry the truth.
Excess is going to tell Barry.
Excuse me. Yeah. She's going to finally
how
come
embarrassing.
clean.
Like, she's going to sit down with him and be like, all right, Dad, here's the deal.
I've been manipulating all of you.
Yeah.
And he's
Remember the guy that murdered your mom? Toad's my best friend.
Yeah.
And I know I'm
Like
your
a
daughter,
mentor.
but also, like, you should disown me. I really botched this.
Yeah, when
Don't
I'm
worry,
born,
though.
you should really kind of let
Steer
me know.
the direction.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how none of this is a fixed point in time. She can just tell them, like, this is the day you get Cicada. All the things she said to him. We're just supposed to assume that based off Legends of Tomorrow logic, none of these points in time matter.
Oh, no, they said that, well, from what I got was she was trying not to say it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're following the same thing. Hopefully I answered the question. But, like, they're like, we have an opportunity to, like, stop it. And what I felt was implied was if she keeps her mouth shut like she has for a while now, they could get Cicada. But because she's panicky and wants it to end because a new timeline's popping up, which I like that idea where it's like you have a limited window and things are going to change. And so she whiffs it by saying something that, like, if you don't get Cicada now, it's going to get messed up. They get Cicada, but because she messed it up and told the truth or is even existing in this timeline, girl Cicada's here now. It's not airtight, and I'm doing a lot of backflips to try to connect the dots here.
I did like when Lady Cicada showed up and took everybody out. I thought it looked cool.
She's got halo powers.
It did look cool. It did look cool.
She really wrecked the place.
Yeah, also, I'm on
Bad
board now
news,
with
Bears.
Flash's new costume. Now that they made a couple adjustments to his helmet.
I was always on board because I'm a team player.
I know. But also, but you can't see as well, so you can see how weird his helmet looked before.
It's not true.
Yeah, so now that they made
See
some
that.
adjustments, there are some moments, there are some angles that look a little like, but for the most part, I'm on board with this version
Also,
of the costume.
now he doesn't have to go hand here, cut away,
Now
cut
it's-
back, and now the helmet's off.
Yeah, now he literally has to duck out of frame, and then he comes back. Did you see that? He ducks out of frame. They cut to the person's reaction.
Oh,
and
they
come
still
back
do
to
it?
him.
I
Yeah.
thought he did it in one go. I thought they
No.
could do it because like a helmet now.
Nah.
Let me
Oh,
just
well, they're
reveal
close.
to the
Yeah.
biggest villain what my identity is and
He
tell him I have a
loves
daughter.
it. He loves doing that.
I'm a dad too.
What would we rate this episode of No Flame?
Out of how many inappropriate jitters coffees they have, like the Zoom and the Saboteur.
7.
And
Yeah.
so 7 Zoom coffee drinks out of 10. So it's lower than Supergirl.
Yeah.
I'd give it a 7.5. I'd say it's right on par with Supergirl.
I give it 7.5 as well because it was perfectly fine.
Is this asset from this episode?
Yes.
Could be.
Because that shirt.
Danielle Panabaker looks about 13 years old in that
Yes,
picture.
but she always will.
Yeah.
She looks the
She
same as she
literally
did in
looks
Sky
13.
High.
That's insane.
Yeah, she's young. She's young.
She could still play high school.
Yes.
For sure.
Congrats, Danielle Panabaker.
David Rodriguez with a 7.9. You know, next week I'm interested to see how she's gonna tell it all. How she's gonna tell her side of the story.
Yes, but first, speaking of telling it all,
Sure.
Let's talk
Are you
about.
about to talk about The Bachelor?
no.
We'll check in at the end, though.
Women Tell All?
There you go.
What? That doesn't sound okay. That sounds inappropriate.
Well, I'm
Is it
interested.
inappropriate?
He lost his virginity, DJ.
Whoa.
That's gross. All right, talking about Arrow.
I have questions later, but let's talk about Arrow Season 7, Episode 15, Training Day. Team Arrow attempts to work with the Star City Police Department, but much to Oliver's frustration, things don't go as planned because you need conflict. Meanwhile, Dinah gets some life-changing news.
Remember when they're like, "Hey, listen, we're trying to bring some law and order back to this city, so we're gonna actually have to get you guys to play by the rules." And Oliver's like, "You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna dangle a guy over acid and see if that works out."
I love that acid boils and everything.
Why don't
Yeah.
I know what her life-changing news is? Is it that her powers don't work?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Bad news bears.
Yeah, but we knew that because of the future.
Yeah. So we didn't get
They,
life-changing
they-
news.
they didn't say her powers didn't work in the future.
No, but we did see that big slash across her neck.
I do like this though. I like them sitting in the class. I am glad this was an episode of one of these shows, and they used to be better about this, especially early seasons of Arrow, where they introduce stuff and you're like, uh-oh, I hope this show knows what they're doing. And then by the end, they point out like, hey, these people are acting inappropriately, and we figured it out and we grew forward. They were tighter about it in earlier seasons. This one mostly gets it.
Tell me what you mean.
Okay, so as the season's going on, like as this episode's going on, like they bungle it, like they're like, ugh, we have to use actual guns instead of gadgets. Ugh. And then Felicity in the middle of the thing, like, I lost them because this police system. And she looks at the person working with her. This police system sucks.
It's
and it's
outdated.
like, what? She didn't build it. And it's not. She probably also thinks it sucks. And also, you've been hacking into things you shouldn't be hacking into. Like,
super illegal. You should be in prison.
It's like
you should all be in prison.
You should have a warrant to search something, and you should.
Yeah.
I mean, these laws are placed for a reason.
There's like Alan Moore is actually a big one to point this out, but a lot of other comic creator people have pointed out, like, superheroes are kind of inherently fascist, which is truer of some characters than others. But this is one of those where the show doesn't seem to realize that, like, this actually isn't okay. Like when you're, it's one thing if you say, listen, the system is broken, so we're working outside of the system. But now you're in the system trying to fix it. So what you're doing is really not okay.
Right.
The show tries to treat it as if the arguments are equal. And in my mind, they are not equal arguments. Dinah was right, and everybody else needed to cool down. I was actually a little bummed that it was cool that they tried to, they found a balance. But I was kind of hoping that, I thought it would be cool if some of the, and they even throw it out there like, well, Felicity's helping update their system. You know what I mean? So it's not so crappy. But it'd be cool to see some of those SCPD people working in the bunker.
It would be cool. I did also like when they're like, we got his DNA, so we're going to scan for it. I'm like, whoa, what in the world are you talking about?
We're going to scan the city. Yeah.
That's not something. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're going to scan his DNA. Why haven't you found every bad person? You have all of their DNA. Are you kidding? No. Are you serious? Yeah. This is insane. That's such a stupid thing for her to like. That's such a dumb written thing where it's like, don't worry, we got his DNA. So, so here's everywhere he's ever been his entire life, and I'm like, oh no!
You know what? Team Flash could use that over in Cicada Land right now. Why don't you help them out with that
one?
We
can't scan his dagger anymore. Really quick, we got some flash forwards in this episode. We got Black Star
we got
and
some
William.
Of that too.
They were hanging out. They were broing and sistering it up and trying to find a cassette player.
And then getting pickpocketed.
They got pickpocketed. Wasted a lot of time. So
I told you, William. I told you.
I walked over there to do something that is very unspecified, and then I come back and you've been
just
robbed.
So you could be alone, testing you.
They're probably gonna make out, right? Probably.
It like kind of seems that way, and I'm upset.
Yeah. Well, they've established that he's gay, but I also felt the same thing. Yeah. Oh, here's something. You know what? Something that bummed me out. That's kind of dumb, but I was thinking about it. She's been hanging out with Connor Hawke. What?
They've established that he's gay is the problem with these siblings making out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, no. I'm just saying it will be the thing that keeps it from happening.
Oh, the DNA is not enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but these CW shows, who's to say? You did bring up Gossip Girl earlier.
Yeah, but
and some of those shenanigans.
Sibling.
Just one smoot.
So here's the thing. I was thinking about it. She's been hanging out with Connor Hawke, and I'm like, you know what? It would be cool in that classic sitcom way if Oliver's kid and Diggle's kid ended up together. I'd be on board. And then I remembered that for some reason, this is not Diggle's kid. He's adopted, even though we literally changed time to make it so that was Diggle's kid.
And we just found out who the dad is, right? We found out in this episode. It's Michael J. White. It's Bronze Tiger's kid.
I interviewed him this week.
Did you interview Michael J. White?
What was he doing?
Yeah,
where was
amazing.
he? Where'd you get him?
Over at Collider Live. He was incredible. We talked to him a lot about The Dark Knight and being on set and working with Heath Ledger.
Did you ask about his new Western that he's making? I contributed to that campaign. I'm excited for the Blu-ray whenever it arrives.
The Something Threat movie? No, that's an action movie. I don't know. But we did ask him about Arrow and finding out that it was the final season and how he felt about it. He said he found out doing a podcast when somebody asked him, how did you feel when they told you it's going to be the final season next season? And he said, what?
Yeah. To be fair, he's not one of the main.
He's not a main cast member. Like the fact that he's on this season, because he was in like season 1 and 2, maybe popped up somewhere else. I thought he was dead until this season.
Me too.
So I get why he doesn't know.
Man, I'm so glad he's back.
Though. It's like, so I don't have. I got to go back and get my resume updated.
Yeah. By the way, if that is little kid, Bronze Tiger, the little kid was one of the cutest little kids. When they bring Bronze Tiger's little kid, I'm like, that kid is adorable.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what I got from it was it sounded like it was the name of his. It sounded like the name they said for Connor. No, his name is Connor. Yeah. So I know it's complicated because Legends, but if they wanted to kind of ignore that just like a tiny bit,
please, because the naming part was dumb.
It was dumb, but it sounded like it was Connor. It sounded like he said Connor.
I don't understand.
Let me look really quick. I have IMDb.
Does this mean that the Legends or Flash or somebody does something to mess things up again? Because how is Connor Hawk not Diggle's kid?
To be fair, they've messed things up since then, repeatedly. Flashpoint.
But is that what we're saying happens?
Well, like in the
Flashpoint's what made him a boy to begin with.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
In Legends, they also have Oliver in the future without an arm.
Yes, and Oliver appears to not be. And maybe Crisis is what changed things.
There you go. I really did like seeing.
Say.
I like seeing Star City with the glades being bordered up. I thought that looked pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
I like
but
it.
are you guys going to answer? Is that what we're supposed to assume?
I don't
Something
know.
Else
I am
again?
assuming it will be explained to us. All I'm going to say is I'm really thankful Michael J. White was back for this season. I think he's great. I love him. Black Dynamite's one of the funniest things ever, and he's such a talented martial artist and performer. And if it is his kid, that actually makes me slightly more on board just because.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. Hey, Connor, my little hawk. He
Dumb.
calls him that.
Dumb.
Yeah.
That line was dumb. I didn't even know it was referencing, and that line was dumb.
He says this full name.
So dumb.
He says his
What do you
full
mean you
name.
didn't know what it was referencing?
Well, just because it's like, oh, you fly like my little hawk. Like, what is even happening right now?
But you didn't hear him say Connor.
No, and it
there you
didn't.
go.
I don't know. I was.
There you go. It's baby John
Alley Cat
Sarah
Diva,
Connor
thank you.
Hawk Diggle Jr.
Danny M.
Hey,
Why? Why would they change that?
Because now they're going to adopt his kid, and Michael J. White's going to go out in a blazing glory.
But I don't want to lose him
Yeah,
again.
okay.
We just got him back.
Hey, you got him back longer than you thought you were going to.
That is true.
Right?
That is true.
All right. You know what's always great? I tried to say this earlier. Is that whenever there's acid in any show, it's always bubbling. It's like the ooze in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it's like, we gotta. It's the dip. And it's like you gotta dip it in there. It's already bubbling. It's like that's a chemical reaction. That's Bad News Bears. That should happen when something goes into it. It shouldn't just be sitting in a barrel over there. That means it's probably gonna explode. Who cares? But I did want to bring up Bootstrong's comment and the comment in the Discord that the rumor mill's a churnin', and there's talk of a CW reportedly developing an Arrow spinoff for Black Star, aka Mia. And guess what? That opinion is shared throughout the whole Discord.
Yeah.
You said
Here's the
don't
thing.
make it or don't hate
don't
it?
need it. Don't need it.
Don't need it.
Don't need it because, one, this future is not that interesting, which is a bummer. And these actors are some of the weaker ones on the show.
I actually really like her. I think she's really good.
She's really pretty.
I think she's really good.
I like her as well.
Yeah.
Maybe JJ is going to be the head of Argus in the future, like Lila. Oh, that'd be interesting. I don't know what that means.
We literally changed reality to make the whole Legends thing work.
And then someone didn't like it. Because they're like, oh, they'd have to watch Legends to understand that. Oh, super confusing. But it's the same actor,
To be fair, to understand what's happening, you need to watch the other shows because we're dealing with time travel and alternate dimensions and everything at this point. So,
oopsie poops. Well,
but this episode was fine. I enjoyed it.
Scoop.
I am glad that it didn't.
Scoop-de-poop.
It did realize like, hey, actually, our main characters are acting like jerks right now.
could you imagine if the police was like, okay, so this random militia now gets its own operating budget and its own bunker and its own, and we don't need to check in on them.
No.
Unless they like super fuck up, we don't need to check in with
This
them.
is another
It's a
cool
cool way to
thing.
kind of get past all the other stuff, but I'm like, this
Well, and that's
is impossible.
That's why I think it'd be cool if they had some SCPD people actually in the bunker with them to show that there's like some oversight and also there's bigger scope, and it's like, hey, maybe you don't get to choose what bad guys you're going after. Maybe we have to say, hey, this one's the priority for your team.
threat.
Our SWAT team actually has this one.
When maybe they're gonna have like like donuts come in every day, and they
I'd
got
love it.
they got coffee in there.
I
and
want donuts.
dun 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 dun
I want donuts.
dun 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 dun. How should we rate it?
Roxy?
7.5.
Same.
Donuts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Good to know. I'd give it a 7.5 as well. That's 3
We
for 3
all
for me.
have 7.5 donuts.
What would you give it?
That's what I said.
That's what you said.
7.5.
Why
Out
did
of,
you
out of
No,
10
out of donuts. Out of donuts.
Yeah, but I
yes.
want all the donuts. We should go get donuts.
We should. Oh, we know a place. Ooh,
Ooh,
we got a place.
Oh, we know
Really?
a place.
We got a
yes.
place. Tom Hanks goes there.
Is that true?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. It is
It's
actually.
prominently featured inside of the restaurant.
Is there frosting
Yeah.
on the donuts or no?
Oh, of course. Yes, of course there is.
Not a big non-frosting donut girl.
Yes, of course.
I could do non-frosting on a whole, but not on a donut.
Oh, we're gonna have to more questions later. Going into Black Lightning.
Oh, I had a.
Go black.
I was going to use Tom Hanks to go around.
Wait, hold on.
So I got- no, too late,
Rewind.
too late,
We're gonna
too
do
late,
an
too
excess
late,
rewind.
too late,
What's your
too late.
segue?
Let's just too late. I blew
not
it.
too
Okay,
late.
all right.
It's
You
not too
forgot
late.
it. You forgot what it was.
Yes, you did.
That's what it is. That's what it was. All right, let's look.
I'm gonna read this one.
All right,
Yes.
cool.
Suck it. That was so mean. Black Lightning, season 2, episode 15. Wait, moving closer, guys. There I am. The Book of the Apocalypse, Chapter 1, the Alpha dash Tobias. The dash isn't part of the title. Tobias initiates the first step in selling his army of metas. Jeff sets down some ground rules to his daughters, and Lala and Lazarus have a chat.
Oh, I did not know his name was Lazarus, and boy, howdy, that dude's
Why do we keep calling him Jeff?
His name's Jeff.
It's not.
If we're friends with him now, we can call him Jeff.
Guys.
I would never call him Jeff, though, if I met him. He'd be like, no, you're Jefferson.
I love having Lala back.
Lala's so
Lala
insane.
makes me so much
got a Lala.
happier.
Also, Lazarus explaining how he comes back is a
Nightmare.
Lazarus
is a yes guy. Everything yep. Let's do that.
Yeah,
yep.
for sure. He seems not all there.
No.
Basically, he just needs to go scoop up Lala and put him back together, and it's like, Well, Lala and this whole like reanimation thing, Lala is one of the best things this show's ever, like the character is one of the best shows they've ever created.
By far.
And so I'm so glad that they're using it. Even all this like extra stuff with like Lazarus, I'm like, cool, like super on board with it.
Me too, 100%.
But like also, he's so on board with killing Tobias. I'm like, man, do you not know what happens if you keep killing people?
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna torment you. Because since you can't die, it will be forever.
So. I did think about this.
Oh.
And what if Lala teams up with Jennifer and she has to kill Tobias so that Tobias doesn't come back and haunt Lala?
Interesting. So she's about to like power up. He aims her over there,
Yeah.
and she does it. But he's like, "Ooh, there we go."
Like somehow, because they're the two that are so intent on killing Tobias.
Or what if Lala does do it, and that's how we keep the actor that plays Tobias in the show because he's haunting Lala?
Ooh.
I kind of feel like he wants to get back to his rap career. Condon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We both kind of just didn't say it.
Condon. I think that's what it is. I'm okay losing him at this point for a little and having Lala.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind Lala being the big bad as well. I really dig his character. He's really complex. He's so troubled.
And he can't die.
No, he can't. And in this confrontation, since DJ even watched this, he's holding a gun to Knife Lady, and she's thrown, let's say, like 3 right into his chest, and he's just kind of like bleeding out, but he's like, he doesn't stop.
He's like, I told you I can't die.
His acting is phenomenal in that scene. And I like that that's what's kind of getting Tobias and Knife Girl like running. They're on the go. Da, da, da. Yes?
How about how everything was ruined when Tobias and Knife Girl so heavily made out?
Like full, like,
It like
both
ruined,
tongues were in each other's mouths at the same time.
Ruined my day.
It didn't ruin my day.
Oh.
Made it better, maybe.
Oh.
It was near the end of the day. I couldn't tell you.
I just don't
hard to
think
say.
of him as any kind of sexual being. He's just
But he is.
and everybody's
everyone.
watching it, and then what's her name? Who's Lynn's nemesis, who also helps in there?
She got in there three-way.
No, she's looking
Jace,
at it.
Dr. Jace.
Dr. Jace is like, ugh. And I'm like, I'm with you, sister. Like, oh, it's so bad. It's so gross. Why?
Oh, so people aren't entitled to their happiness.
No.
That's
No.
Roxy's stance
No,
here.
they're
Even
just
if
both.
they're murderers, they don't get to find
No,
love.
it just, I mean, off the show, nothing to do with the level of attractiveness of all of these actors, but just like, there's these two villains just so sloppily sucking face in front of a whole room of people. And it's like,
It's like they're feeding each other. But besides that part, we get with that the release of the rest of the Masters of Disaster. We have somebody, there's an ice guy, there's a fire
This
guy.
is cool. I like what
And
we're doing here.
Then there was another girl, and her name was New Wave, but I looked away for a second. I missed what her power was, but we'll come back to that in a second. I like the idea of selling the metas and the whole display of sending the fire guy out to just like murder a big community organizer.
but then when they tell him to leave, I thought that was smart. That Knife Girl, she knows better now.
Oh, she does. But
She
like
gets it.
that guy's still out there. I mean, he's
Or
going back to
Jace
Tobias.
says it maybe.
But you get that, and I like how he was like messing with the gas pipes to like blow up houses. This is fun. It's a fun little thing. Also, electricity versus fire was a cool power or a cool fight. But that was a good moment where I was like, oh, let's imagine what it's like without these effects, because they're basically filling up the whole screen, and it must have been really weird.
Why is she in that suit right now?
Jennifer?
Yeah.
Because she wants to kill.
It's not ready. We knew
know,
it was
but
not
she
ready.
wants to
You
kill
moonwalked in it and you lit
Tobias.
yourself on fire.
She did. But she wants to. And also, it was just like, man, she's doing great in this episode. Like, she can have her, like, conflicts and everything. But she was like, I liked your interactions with Lynn.
I like the family meeting to start. That was cool.
That was cool, like their dinner together. And I like seeing the sisters together as well. You know, I miss this. I miss them hanging out.
Yeah, her with Anissa. There was not that much about Grace.
There was a little bit. Also, we found out what. Cause remember, I was like, "Hey, what was on the ground in that apartment?"
Yeah,
it was a horse.
Yeah,
it was a dead horse.
But I'm confused because they're saying that she's a shapeshifter, but her original form is horse.
No. Is that she was?
That's what.
I get why you're confused. What I got was original form is an animal.
An animal.
And it was eating the horse. That's what ate the horse.
So Grace is not a human?
I don't know.
But that's what it sounded like Gamby was saying.
It sounded like a metahuman who was a shapeshifter.
Shapeshifter whose original form is not a human.
Which is not Grace. But she likes maybe being Grace.
Oh, I'm not on board with any of this.
Yeah.
Super confusing.
Yeah, in the comics, she's just super strong. She's actually like part Amazonian or something.
Yeah, but that's why I'm confused. That's why I was saying what I was saying to you last week, Sam, because I don't feel like this is Grace. I feel like, now I've gotten in debates on this before, but there's some shapeshifters you could morph into whatever. Some shapeshifters you have to see what you've seen in order to morph into it.
You've gotten into these debates?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I feel as if, nerdy as hell, I feel as if this shapeshifter has seen Grace and is shifting into Grace, but is not Grace. Grace is a different entity. Grace, the person that Anissa loves, is not a horse.
Quick question.
Yeah.
But we saw, and it was established in this episode, that the Grace that she's been with forever has that eye thing.
I know. That's where I get torn on what's happening here.
Kind of falls apart a little bit. Huh?
I'll
tell you.
She has super strength, and then somebody else is also.
She's
I don't know.
So
I just don't want Anissa to be in love with a horse.
She's not. Fair. She's in love with someone who is part horse.
Get it right. So
out of
you bigot.
out of 10 part horses.
Well, we're almost there. We're almost there.
Sorry.
Hey, I feel you.
Yeah.
This is a confusing episode. I actually thought it was pretty tight all the way around for the most part. Who's the actor who plays James Remar?
Yeah.
Playing Gamby. He has to work through so much garbage dialogue sometimes.
He really does, and he's a very talented actor. But
he explained all the shapeshifter stuff. He was like, "Yeah, Grace had an eye flicker, and we ran into a guy that had the eye flicker." And he's like, "Must be shapeshifters." Yeah, you found a horse there? Must be like an animal kind of thing. And I'm like, what?
But that's why I'm confused. What was on the floor too, though? Why is
horses?
Yeah, but why dead?
Because they were eating them.
Bootron
the horse was eating the horse.
Bootron in the chat says some people love horses.
Wait,
I also don't think this was about this, but Danny Boy saying Sir Roxy has a type and he ain't it. But I'm hoping that he means horses.
Yeah, Crondon is what he's talking
I'm
about.
hoping it's horses.
Okay.
Marcus writes, this felt a little dull as a penultimate episode. I don't really feel like it's really setting anything interesting up for the final episode, which I guess continued the theme of the season for being a little all over the place. I am, however, wondering what they're going to do with the Grace storyline. At this point, it has to be a season 2. It has to be a season 3 arc, is what I'm guessing, since we're near the end.
You were in season 2, yeah.
Kind of
when
curious.
are we near the end? How many episodes do we have?
There's one more. This is penultimate.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What?
I'm kind of curious as to whether she'll be the new member of the team or a new villain. I don't think new villain. Maybe just a kind of like a loose cannon out there. I think
She's a horse?
No. She likes eating horses.
We're gonna have to wait for the finale to find out what type of horse she is.
You know what's dumb though? I liked what I say. Another bonus, a plus, was Jefferson sitting down with Jennifer and Anissa.
Jefferson sitting
down with Jennifer and Anissa. Sorry, it is confusing.
And giving them the rules.
Giving them the rules. It was just like you don't. What was it? It was like you always bring backup. You don't
tell anybody who we are.
Boom, and you don't kill.
Yeah, but then when Jennifer's on the phone with Anissa, Jennifer's like, "Screw the rules, Anissa. Go tell Grace who you are."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Well, that didn't last long."
No,
and then she tried to go kill Tobias with her costume on, and now she's going to explode. We know that she could literally explode because one of the lines earlier was
could literally
explode.
Where is that woman, by the way?
In Dream World. She's working with Wendy.
Yeah, she's working with Dreamer to make that dream construct energy.
Dream energy.
Yeah.
You better watch out for the spiders.
Danny Boy saying,
watch out for this one.
Love that Roxy gets into these debates. Hey, it's what you tune in for. But now I think we've hit every point.
Yeah.
Because the initial debate, just to bring you guys in on it, is could you shapeshift into Santa Claus? Which I was saying I don't really think you can, because you could shapeshift into a specific version, like you could shapeshift into Billy Bob Thornton Santa Claus, but I've never met Santa Claus, so how could I shapeshift into Santa Claus?
Mm-hmm. Cool. So
we'll do it out of 10 Santa Clauses, but you could shapeshift into Coca-Cola Santa Claus. And with that, out of 10 Coca-Cola Santa Clauses, what would you give? One,
that might be a horse shapeshifter.
Out of 10 Santa Clauses, what did you give my theory, and what would you give this episode?
Your theory about the Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you could do that.
Thank you.
So 10.
So 10 out of 10.
And then this episode's 7.
7 as well.
One of the coolest aspects of Captain Marvel was the way the Skrulls shapeshifted. It looked really cool. I would give this episode. Why am I giving this episode a rating? 7. It sounds like. Yeah.
But this week for me has all been 7, 7.5,
except for Doom Patrol for me.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Okay. We're working our way through it.
We got another show to do before we get to that. That's right.
What was your rating?
Last thought.
You did 7.
But really quick, Alley Cat Diva says maybe Grace is like a werewolf. Interesting.
But I honestly, and you can call me a bigot again if you want, but I'm honestly more okay with her falling in love with a werewolf than a horse.
But what if instead of werewolf, horse? Go on.
Speaking of people falling in love, Gotham.
Well, actually, you don't know how relevant that is.
Hey!
Let's talk about Gotham, Season 5, Episode 9, Legend of the Dark Knight, The Trial of Jim Gordon. After Gordon is shot in an attempt to establish a ceasefire, backfired, huh? He hallucinates a trial for his life that could have deadly real consequences. Meanwhile, Ivy returns and puts her spell on Bruce, leaving Selina to defend herself. Lee has a life-changing moment as Barbara and Penguin consider their next moves.
This episode was really something.
So wait, really quick. Ivy is...
We got some Ivy.
She's now evolved into being a 30-year-old lady, right? Something like that.
I'm pretty sure, isn't this Golden Glider?
It is. Yeah. Because they recast her, 9 times? Something like that?
Yeah.
So, and now she's flirting with Bruce or seducing him or just... Oh, cool.
Okay.
No.
Her spell is usually, to be fair, is for seduction.
No, you're not wrong. But it's not just with Bruce. It's with all the people. It's with Zaz. It's with Bruce.
Cool.
And it's with oh my God, what the hell is his name? Not Alfred. The other one. What's the other guy's name that helps out?
Alfred.
No.
Bullock.
No, come on.
Morgan Freeman.
No, yeah.
Lucius Fox.
Lucius. He's Lucius. Oh my God, that was brutal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters on this show. So she seduced all the people, and also she tries to seduce the whole precinct because now she doesn't even have to be there to seduce. She
wishes.
No. She boxes up her seduction and then gives it to other people to deliver.
Cool. Cool.
Sorry, for a second I thought you were going to be it's kind of like when you hold in a fart and then you walk away and you can let it out and hit more people.
No, she literally puts it in a vial and then gives that vial away and then people open it.
I love a good vial. Yeah. I love vials. Why don't we use
vials? As long as
it's
bubbling in there.
Oh, yes.
It's
like
a spray gun,
out.
kind of. No update on the meat. I'll let you guys know that off the bat. There's no update on the meat.
Damn it.
So that was a bummer.
No.
Also, there was so much about this episode that was bizarre. So we open up the episode and Jim Gordon gets shot. And we don't.
Where does he get shot?
He's at Penguin's, where presumably the meat is.
Where on him does he get shot?
So this is him getting shot. It maybe his shoulder. It was kind of unclear. Somewhere in the chest area.
Chesticles.
Just somewhere in the chesticles. He's at this thing. It's confusing why he's here. Penguin's called everybody. I don't really know, but it's literally 30 seconds before Jim's talking about everybody being safe, and he's called this meeting, and he's like, we're all going to get through this, and then shot. Mm-hmm. And so he goes down really quick.
Like the Warriors situation. Great movie, by the way. Highly recommend.
Okay, and then...
Sorry, Alley Cat tries to explain the Ivy thing. It's like a plant-seducing perfume, which is nothing. Anyways, go on with your...
Yeah.
But good try. We appreciate your attempt.
So then we go, and we rush Bruce off to... not Bruce. We rushed Gordon off to not the hospital, but to the precinct where Lee's doing surgery on him.
Cool.
And she's
they didn't have the money for the hospital.
No, and she's like, I haven't done this in a really long time since I was a general physician in my practice days. And you look at her, and she's like, oh, got one piece of the bullet out. Clink. Oh, there's another piece of the bullet.
The bullet exploded inside of him.
Clink. Wow, more bullet? Clink. There's an out wound. I guess the rest of the bullet went through. Which logistically I was like, what?
What? Wait, the bullet shed some of its skin on the way through and then flew out of him?
You heard me. You heard me.
I can't do it.
So I just kind of was like, all right, this is the new me. Where's the bullet?
Where's the bullet?
Where is it?
It could come back. We got a couple more episodes.
Meanwhile, Jim has decided to die. Jim's just like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to do this.
Hey, fair. He's been through some shit.
And Lee's like, don't die on me, Jim. You've got me. You've got a baby on the way. You can't do this. And Jim's in his head, and he's like, no, I'm going to die. And then
I'm not going to deal with this.
And then he goes through the trial of Jim Gordon, which is a bunch of hymns putting him on trial with him.
Oh, do they have different costumes on or stuff?
Yeah.
Or is one of them future him with a mustache?
No, I don't think so.
Again, what is this show doing?
So and it's basically just like, yo, dog, you really messed up. And he's like, I know.
I shouldn't die.
It's just throughout the episode, it's just going into his brain, him doing that, which was not my favorite part of the episode, but a big focus of it. Going on with Bruce, we've got interesting.
You say Bruce, and I look at this like, no, that's a kid, and I'm like, I keep forgetting that like this is the point of the show.
Yeah. So Bruce and Selena make out in this episode.
Nice.
And they're chilling, but then unfortunately Bruce gets seduced.
Netflix and chilling, am I right?
Yeah, for sure. But then Bruce gets seduced by Ivy.
Usually Bruce does this.
And so they're all doing Ivy's thing. Long story short, not only you remember when I told you guys we were planting chips in people's brains?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what's happening when somebody shot Jim, but it wasn't. Really, Ivy is controlling people and now shooting people and wants Jim dead because Gotham's hers. So something along those lines. It
sounds airtight.
It's not totally clear, but she like really wants Jim dead.
Wait, so you got some...
I got some comments here. From Echo Spider, we get what seems to be another filler episode. And Echo Spider had to walk away from the stream. He couldn't be here for this. He was excited about Gotham. But he goes on to say, it's so odd they were on such a hot streak.
I
the
know.
episode was still good, but man, it feels like they are just biding time until the end game. Boom.
Yeah.
We do get Victor Zsasz, and that dude is always a treat. NoHo Hank.
So
Yeah,
Zsasz
he's
is the
Barry,
one-
which is so good.
Zsasz is the one who actually ended up shooting Gordon,
Whoa.
but Ivy.
Yeah, gotcha.
Not
But
Zsasz,
Ivy. Yeah,
but
gotcha.
Ivy.
Yeah, and I get it.
Oh God! But Bullock is so damn good. I am not. I may not be on the live stream, but I believe Roxy can handle all this by herself.
This is totally exactly accurate. Like, yes, we were on such a hot streak, and then this episode might have been better than the Scarface one, but might not have been.
It's hard to say.
We do.
I don't think you're getting a new one this week, are you?
Yeah, there's a new one
Don't
tonight.
tell me that. Is that
Okay.
true?
There's a new one
When I
tonight.
was looking at this, getting assets,
that
there wasn't
true?
one listed for this week.
No offense, but I'm glad I don't watch Gotham Bootstraps.
Wow, I don't get a new one tonight.
I don't know.
I think
Mixed reports.
We'll check.
Mixed
We'll check.
reports, yeah.
But last thing he says was, we do get a nice moment at the end with Marina Bakarin's looks too damn good to have been stuck in a city that has fallen into chaos.
Marina
Baccarin.
Baccarin. So
Yeah.
Pretty
that's Lee.
close.
That's Lee, and yeah, her and Jim are gonna give this thing a go because he wakes up or whatever it is.
Do it up.
I'm a little confused on right now. It does feel like Barbara is in love with Jim again, but also maybe wants him dead, but also wants to save him and also wants to leave the city and take the baby. And
There is
Jim's
no-
like, no, that's my baby. And she's like, over my dead body kind of
Out
thing.
of my dead baby.
Over my dead
Basically,
baby.
now, but at the very end, Barbara is sitting with Penguin, and Penguin's like, hey, Babs, you a loser. He does not want you. Suck it.
Why are they so involved with this relationship?
I don't know. Also, where's Riddler? He's still trying to figure out how to get them through the tunnels, maybe? Maybe he has
He's
the
looking
meat.
for the meat.
Where'd
Yeah,
Poison
he's-
Ivy go? Where'd she come from?
The tunnels.
Plants.
So
Yeah, plants.
Really quick, there is no new episode tonight.
Oh.
They'll be back the 21st.
You
1
guys are
point to
killing me.
Gryffindor for DJ.
So I've never been Gryffindor when I take those tests.
What are you?
First it was a Ravenclaw, which I feel is more accurate. The
You
second
are a
time
Ravenclaw if I've ever seen
when
one.
they updated it, I was a Hufflepuff, which felt
You
inaccurate.
are not a Hufflepuff. You are mostly Ravenclaw. You got a little Griff, tiny bit Slith, and no Huffle.
I'm going to throw this out there. I think the Harry Potter books whiffed it by having all the characters in the same house. I think they should have all been different houses. Just saying.
All as in Hermione.
Hermione
Ron.
should have been Ravenclaw. Ron should have been a Hufflepuff. They should all have been different houses. They should have had at least one good supporting character that was from Slytherin.
Who should have been Gryffindor?
Harry.
You don't think he should have been Slytherin then?
Nah.
You can tease it.
I think his love, they flirt with giving him a love interest that's not one of the Ron siblings. Should have been a Slytherin. They should have given him
the other one.
Yeah,
the other girl.
They should have given him a love interest that was Slytherin. One good character to Slytherin to show that, like, hey, just because you're in that house doesn't make you evil.
Yeah, I'm Slytherin.
Throwing that out there.
I got Gryffindor once, and Maud will not believe that I got it, and I'm going to hold on to it.
Why?
For
What does she
dear
think
life.
you are?
Hufflepuff.
You're a little Hufflepuff.
You're going to go ahead and go right to hell is what you're going to
No,
do.
you've got Griffin, you too, but I could see you being Hufflepuff.
I could
also.
see you in hell. That's interesting.
In the American house, I got the cool one. I don't remember what it was, but I remember thinking, that's cool.
Probably Thunderbird.
So out of, maybe. So out of Slytherins, 10 Slytherins, what would you give this? Nagini is a person now. Why would you give this?
That's true.
Yeah, I know. What would you give this episode?
7.
Okay.
I'm really upset about
DJ,
it.
what would you give it?
It sounds like also
This was
a 7. If you're basing it off of other Gotham episodes, it's a bell. What do you curve the grade? You curve the
Bell curve.
Bell curve. Yeah.
Yeah. It's still not bad, but it's just like, why did we start the season so badass?
Yeah, it's interesting how you said it's still not bad, and it does sound bad.
Yeah,
it does sound.
I
okay.
have Stockholm. Mm-hmm. And that's how I describe what's
That's
going
fair.
on.
No, that's fair, and I don't judge you for it. So, real quick, before we wrap up, we're going to dive into a little spoiler-free discuss on Doom Patrol before we get into the full spoiler one, which will come out tomorrow
because
of embargoes.
Worth mentioning really quick, Roxy, you had so much support for how you felt about last episode when we posted the spoiler-filled review. So many people were on board with you.
Really?
Doom Patrol.
On Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised.
That was Cult Patrol, and they were 100% way more on board. They're like, this is... it was a mix of too weird, like we don't hate it, but it's like we really were more on board with the other episodes. But they're still going to stick with it, and I'm glad you guys are going to stick with it because we're going to do just spoiler-free thoughts.
Yes,
we'll say for Doom Patrol Season 1, Episode 5. Roxy, you want to read the description right there?
Yeah, but funny enough, it's called Paw Patrol, and isn't that like the most successful show on TV right now?
Well,
for
you should
kids?
read the synopsis really quick.
Okay. Doom Patrol, Season 1, Episode 5, Paw Patrol. An ice floe carrying 3 penguins lands in the jungle. Now the pups must get them back to their frosty home. Daring Danny is locked out of the lighthouse turbo, leaving him to look after. Now a freighter is headed straight for Seal Island.
No, but here's the real one. With the apocalypse in full swing, the Doom Patrol must work with the unlikely ally and a very special pug to stop the end of the world.
Spoilers, by the way.
That is the description of the most recent episode of
Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
Also,
Right.
I ruined your joke.
Yes.
No, I was just like,
It was actually set up.
It was set up.
It was set up.
You set it up, knock it down.
So unsurprisingly,
So much snot in my nose.
Get it out.
Why?
Get it
Why?
out.
Wait, what are you gonna do?
Wipe it on the inside of my shirt.
Don't you
Just
want-
like all my sneezes, they go right there.
Boom.
Don't you want to get a tissue?
It's too far away.
I'll get it for you.
No,
all
it's fine.
good.
Unsurprisingly,
DJ says it's fine.
yeah, it's Sam's fine. He knows. He's
a big boy.
I love this episode. I didn't love it as much as last episode, but I did love it. It had so many things that make me happy. Watching the show gives me joy. So it's just so. I think I texted Sam that I was like, watching Doom Patrol gives me so much
What's
joy.
up
With what?
with all of these texts to Sam?
Because I knew you didn't like the last episode. I'm not going to share that with you.
And you never text me about where the meat's at. You said
Yeah.
you were going to, and you never did.
I'm really on an island here, okay?
Is it?
And I can't
Seal
see.
Island?
I can't see anything, and my
Is-
fingers don't point. And Thanos already took a lot from me. So come on.
I very much enjoyed this episode as well. I had a blast. Danny Boy says nailed it, Roxy. So look, you got Danny Boy. He's there with
appreciate
you
that.
on your island.
You liked it as much as the first part?
Honestly, like these episodes, like there's some episodes. Maybe the first episode might be my favorite, but it's like it's pretty like just like it's like with someone who's like 6 foot. And then someone who's 6.5 feet tall. It's like it doesn't matter at some point.
6.5 feet?
Or what? It's just basically it's indifferent to me. They're like
Yeah.
they're all really good, and it's like if we really get into like the nitty gritty, I could give you specific things that I'm like.
It's like if somebody's 6 feet and somebody's
What? Sorry.
6.5 feet.
Well, if they were standing next to each other, I couldn't tell you the difference. I couldn't tell you who's taller or whatever. Like it doesn't
If
matter.
somebody's a half foot taller?
Let me
That's not what I'm trying to say.
If somebody,
That's not
I'm
what I'm
6
trying
foot
to
6. If Sam
say.
saw me stand next to me and was 6'5", it's indistinguishable. So basically,
That's not what I was trying to say. I fucked
Somebody's
everything up.
5 inches taller than you is
no,
indistinguishable.
I'm 6'6". They're
you're
6'5".
6'6". You're
They're
6'6".
6'5". So
That's
it's like an
what I'm
inch
trying to
difference.
say.
Yeah, if I'm 6'6",
That's what I'm trying
and that
to
person's
say.
6'5", it's indistinguishable. My dad's 6'5". Our height is indistinguishable.
I'm
And that's-
5'3".
Yeah. So our height difference is distinguishable.
That's what I mean.
Weed?
And I like this. That's what I mean.
Yes. Yeah. So
Snot's getting to your brain.
it's so fun to see how this show deals with the end of the world, because of course it's not how other superheroes deal with it. It's not. I don't know what to say with it's not spoilers, but Mr. Nobody gets involved. He's back.
I can say things.
And of course he's able to get back on it, and we do see a brief return of Timothy Dalton as the chief, and he's still delightful.
This looks like a picture from Penny Dreadful.
I know.
Specific
It
shot
could
does.
be.
Yeah.
It could be.
It could be. It's not, but it definitely could be.
Willoughby, full swing. All this chaos magic stuff's a blast. And like the way that, because it's a good. I think it's fair to say that this is a good like two-parter. This is a good like two-parter story, and I feel like we're kind of getting back on track in the next episode, the following episode after Paw Patrol. Then that's going to be a blast. There's the way that this show chooses to solve this problem is. It's so weird that it actually, in a weird, absurd way, it is very like A plus B equals C. It's just like, or A plus A equals nothing, or like whatever. Like it's insane how they figured this out. The supporting cast to get for this episode's so delightful. It's like I'm on. There's one character in particular. There's that we get to meet, and when you meet her, you're like, yeah, I'm totally on board. Also,
You're talking about one of Jane's characters, or can you say?
no, it's somebody. It's a different character who probably won't be back. It's just in this episode.
Yeah.
I
But
don't even know who you're talking about.
We'll talk about it on the spoiler review.
but speaking of Jane, though, I
DJ's over me.
well, no, we have to stay spoiler free. We don't want to get in trouble. But for Jane, I really like that we got to learn more about her in this episode and how. There's like little seeds for the rest of the season in this episode that I'm like, I have no idea what this could possibly mean, but I'll have to ask you guys when we get to spoilers.
Yes. Roxy, what did you think of this episode?
I liked it better than last week's.
Good.
Probably because I had already been introduced to some of the weirdness.
Yes.
I won't say which specific things, but things that last week struck me as funny or surprising. At least were not surprising in this episode. That being said, it still wasn't my favorite. Sam, you said the first episode is your favorite. The second episode is still my favorite. But the first 3 were totally different for me than 4 and 5. And I hope we get back to that. Similar to you, I can't really tell exactly where we're going. And while that makes you excited, it makes me slightly nervous because if my brain is going into the place where this is going, I think we're going further into the 4 and 5 direction and less likely going back to the 1, 2, and 3, which I don't love. So I'm carefully optimistic, but still nervous.
Fair. These two are my favorite. If we kept doing this, I'd be very happy. But I would be bummed that we would lose Roxy.
I wouldn't mind
I'd
getting.
still watch because
I wouldn't mind getting back
masochist.
on track and kind of making it not more procedural because I like all the weird stuff, but if it's like more to the main storyline, I'm on board with that because I haven't been turned out by anything that is happening so far. It is so. By the way, there is a very interesting moment with Cyborg in this episode, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys more. It's kind of like it's a tease for the rest of the season, and also where this character's at internally, like what he's dealing with, and it's super. By the end, I actually had a lot of questions, and I don't think there's any answers directly that we could figure out until the following episode.
Yeah,
so
same.
I think if we were just kind of winding it down, because I'm so close to spoiling things because I want to explain what I'm talking about.
But how did you feel about the pups and getting them back to their frosty home?
It's just crazy, you know. They always get on crazy adventures, and sometimes it's like. This might be too dark for some kids, but honestly,
It's cold out there.
It's definitely for the cool kids. It's cool, cold. I think it's inspirational, and I can't wait for more. Penguin Island. I hope we get to go there.
Yeah, me too.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
Out of 10 Penguin Islands, I give it a 9 out of 10.
6.5?
I give it a 9 out of 10 too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I needed
you
to move
also.
mine up. I had to remember that this was great. I had to work through it just because we have to be so very cagey with some details.
Yeah.
I forget about how much of this I really, really enjoyed.
If you want to hear us be less cagey, you can turn in tomorrow on youtube.com/onlystupidanswers for our spoiler review. That's when we're able to put those up. Otherwise, we would be giving that to you right now.
There you go. Also, next week, so this is coming out Friday if you're listening to it. So the following Saturday, we're doing our movie watch-along, and on Monday, you will be seeing a poll pop up that we're going to vote on what we want to watch. A lot of people in the Discord throughout the new season of Queer Eye. Hopefully that comes out next week and we could watch it, because that could be kind of fun as well. But we'll have some suggestions. You can vote on it and let us know. But also let us know on social media. Roxy, where you at?
Everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
DJ?
At DJ Talks Trash.
At Sam Basher and at Only Stupid Answers.
You ain't get the vowels from stupid.
Oh,
She
she's
killed
so
it.
quick.
She killed it.
I wanted to do it for so long. A year and a half.
That was
guys.
great.
Yeah, thank you.
Boom.
You did great. You nailed it. And gang, thank you for joining us. Make sure you let us know what your thoughts are on Discord or on Reddit. We also read from both of those. The Reddit I didn't see any, so I didn't read any from there. And also, I fuck up some weeks, and you're going to go ahead and have to hold me accountable. All right? Just let me know. But until next time, please stay hydrated. Bye-bye.
See you then. Bye-bye.